shit. All right. I'm not going to check this time. It says it's live. It's worked so far the other times. So, we're just running live. We don't need that. Oh, shit. Does that look good? Hope so. Yeah, man. Day 3. I am going to do this for at least 75 days, but I actually am thoroughly enjoying this. But, fuck, dude. I woke up this morning. My knees hurt so bad. I been doing 75 hard and running every day, and I walked yesterday because they hurt so bad, and today I ran a little, but I've been trying to do these knee strengthening exercises, and holy shit. I'm also going to figure out a way to get this put out every day at the same time, but I don't think it matters right now since nobody's viewing it, and if they do, welcome in. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I watched a bunch of shit this morning, which is cool. I guess it's fun to catch up on some news and just media. Before I do this, I have shit to talk about. That helps, maybe. I don't know. But what did I do yesterday? Oh, I bartended yesterday, and that was my first day back at the bar doing 75 hard, and some of my friends, they were drinking and stuff, and they're just like, "You're not drinking, right?" I'm like, "No." So they're all pretty supportive, I don't get a lot of people that are like, "Come on, take a shot." Like, most people are really supportive when I decide to go sober for a while or do something. I did just see this video I made 2 years ago. I think I'm gonna repost it on my Instagram, and it was right after I quit my job, and so I had a big beard, which is kind of fun for a while, but I had just done 100 days sober, and that was the first time in 10 years that I had done something that pivotal, and probably 10 years before I did 3 months sober, but I didn't have near the alcohol problem as I do now. So, problems are solutions, 10 years ago I did it, and I ended up being super introverted and never leaving my house, and it got really lonely. So, and I also didn't have as many friends back then, or social life in general. So it is better being popular, so that way you have a lot of people still hitting you up. I'm just kidding. What was I saying? Fuck. I get so distracted. I gotta talk to my therapist about getting this Adderall shit. So that was 10 years ago or 12 or whatever. But 2 years ago, I had just finished 100 days sober, and that gave me so much confidence. When I say sober, I mean California sober. I actually made a joke in the video, because I was like, I'm not swearing off weed or mushrooms or really any other drug. I don't really have a problem with any of those things. It's just alcohol. So that gave me a lot of confidence, and when I was so scared to do that 100 days, and leading up to that, it was probably 2 years that I'd been considering doing some sort of sobriety stint, and I just couldn't pull the trigger. I'm like, oh, what about this? What about my podcast? How am I going to film that sober? What about going on a date? What about if I have a chance for a threesome? What am I going to do that sober? What about if a trip that I take? Am I going to do that sober? Is that going to be an excuse not to? And so it was just excuse. And then I finally pulled the trigger after my birthday, which is August 18. And I had been researching liver disease and liver failure and shit, and it scared the fuck out of me. So I was like, dude, when we get back from this trip, I have got to cut this out. So I did. So I did 100 days sober, and in that I just started getting more and more confidence. And by the end, I was just feeling like $1 million. I was like, I know I'm finishing this. I know I can do this hard thing. And right towards the end of that, I had a really cool experience with Cinda. We went up to these hot springs and we did our date night that we do every month. But I was like, well, we're not drinking, so we did some ketamine and some Molly, but I didn't drink at all during that. And normally we would drink, but I had a really just a lot of epiphanies, a lot of really good ideas. Ketamine's really creative. And I just hired a business coach, and I just decided I was just like, yeah, I was planning on, eventually quitting my job in like 6 months or a year. And I was like, dude, I don't know why I just don't go for this. And so I did. I mean, I made a decision like within the week, and I was just like, I'm quitting. And so I put in my 2 or 3 weeks notice. And basically my last week was before Christmas. And that was in, what was that, 22, going into 2023. And so I just saw on my memories this video of me that I made about me quitting my job, no more bartending, and then I talk about taking the leap of faith and being nervous. It was kind of funny and silly. And honestly, like I know I only used like a stationary camera, but I was like, this video skill set is decent for, just starting. But yeah, so then it was interesting because I was thinking about resharing it, even though I'm back at the bar part-time. So because that was like I had to swallow my ego, and it took me a solid 6 to 8 months of toying with it, just being tormented about I'm miserable. I'm like not being as successful as I want to be. I am avoiding editing and avoiding like going after jobs because it's just like a frustrated. But then I'm like going broke and I don't have any money. So I'm like, but if I get a new job or I go back to the same job, people are gonna think I'm a failure. So there's a lot of I guess ego death that had to go into that, and I think I am very happy that I made that decision, and also just tackling that ego failure and like understanding that it's okay to fail as long as you keep moving forward, and which I am. And it's like as soon as I picked up a new job or I started bartending again, and it took me a little while to find the right bar, which inevitably was the bar I used to work at before, but I was trying different bars out, and as soon as that happened, I started getting like really big video gigs, which is kind of ironic because none of that came before. But now I really enjoy the balance of working a little, getting some money to pay my bills, but also not working too much where I have time to do this and my podcast and some other video gigs and stuff. So it is really cool to see that was 2 years ago. And even though I'm back bartending 2 to 3 shifts a week, which really isn't that much, I don't see it as a failure anymore. I see it as like a step back that I needed to take. There's this, man, I'm just like holding this coffee. There's this, what do you call it? Like an allegory or a parable about, I don't know who came up with it, but it's like sometimes when you say you want to climb a mountain and you forge your trail and you get 3/4 of the way up the mountain, and then you find out you can't get any further and it's just like impossible. It takes a very strong person to walk back that whole way down the mountain, go around and look for another path. But sometimes that's the only solution. If you find yourself at a place you can't go, you can't see that solution unless you take your steps back. And then you can readjust and think, oh, no, I need to go from here. And that's like that thing kills me. That's like a huge learning lesson, and it's so hard to do because you've put in all that work over here. And you're like, fuck, this is not working this way. And so going back to the bar felt like such a step back, and it felt in the moment at least humiliating. But now that I'm kind of just accepted that pill, I was just like, oh, this is fine. And then taking that step back and seeing, oh, this is actually giving me so much of my social needs. Like I need to be around people. And so when I'm sitting in the house all by myself, like day after day, all day long, trying to figure stuff out, I just go nuts. And so then I'll eventually fuck off and go to the bar and ignore things, but then all I do is drink. And so then I'm ignoring my problems, ignoring my work, just to get a little social interaction. But so what's cool with the working at the bar is I get a lot of that social interaction that I need, but and then I'm also making money instead of spending the money, which is very helpful for me working on a tight budget right now. And then it's really cool then I have a lot of freedom to still work on the things. And now I find myself more, and this is over the last 5 months, but I find myself more excited and more invigorated to sit down and do some editing. Which is always like my nemesis. I love filming, but editing shit kind of is annoying. It's kind of why I like this YouTube live situation. I don't really edit shit. I just fucking put it out. So we'll see if I continue doing this. It's pretty cool. And then actually I made a clip from yesterday's, so that was a little bit of editing, but I didn't do it the normal route. That's probably too much in the weeds, but yeah, I just like grabbed the clip that it saved. Grabbed the start point, grabbed the end point. I was like, oh, that's a pretty interesting thought, and then just posted it. So whereas I used to, going back to perfectionism yesterday, would, oh, I gotta make sure, oh, I should cut out those make it quicker, I should stamp my logo on it, I should caption it, which, oh, I guess I did caption it, but just with the Instagram one, so I didn't make the captions perfect or anything. And yeah, I was just like, dude, I was so much quicker, and I was like, I didn't dread it. I just put it out. We're done. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna keep looking into that a little bit. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna share that thing on Instagram from 2 years ago because it's really cool to see that journey a bit. And actually, I was talking about the gap in the game that I've been reading yesterday, and that's like a prime example of me looking back and seeing how far I've come, and that made me happy. Like I was like, oh yeah, like that does, like that it sets you into a happiness mindset because you're looking at, oh fuck, I have come really far. I've learned all these lessons. I'm tackling some of my perfectionism. I have found a happy medium of the bar and my creative pursuits. And it's kind of silly. I mean, I've been bartending for, 10 years, service for 15, something like that, maybe 20. And it's crazy how, I'll get burnt out at times if I'm doing it too much, but, I fucking love it. It's so fun. It's, one of the easiest ways to make money, where I literally feel like I just pour some beers, I shit talk, and you make a couple $100. Ideally, you have good days and bad days, but I've constantly joked that at some point, I'll be 70 and living in some remote island or somewhere on the beach somewhere and own a little fucking tiki bar or something and just run it by myself every night and listen to stories from fucking tourists from all around the world and just chit chat. Or maybe I'll own the bar, but then I'll bartend here and there. Because I really do like it. It's kind of fun. But anyway, yeah, it was cool to see that. It was cool to see the sober thing too. So I saw both those videos were about the same time. I was just looking back through about 2 years ago and seeing how much confidence I gained from the sobriety. And so as much as this is annoying doing 75 hard, it really does. As it continues and as I get better at it, it brings so much confidence, knowing that I can do a hard thing, knowing that I can tackle something that's fuck, dude, that's how am I going to do the outside workout and the inside, how am I going to do the diet? Even no drinking is hard enough, and then I got to remember to read 10 pages, you got to do the live video, but what about the days when you're going to go here, you're going to have to get up super early, I hate that. It's all these excuses, and then you start figuring it out, and then you as you figure it out, it's man, the satisfaction, the confidence, the joy it brings, even though I mean, talk to me in 30 days, I might have fucked off, but I really doubt it. I think I'm gonna get it, but I'm only on day 3, and I still got the reading to do, and the water to drink. The water thing, man. I don't know if you've ever counted like drinking water. Like, I can chug a gallon of beer through a day, no problem, dude. When I'm drinking, I'll drink 15 beers, 20 beers, not an issue. But something about drinking water, I mean, it's just like, I have to really stay on it. I'm like, fuck, this is a lot of water. And you're not getting buzzed. So, like, what the fuck are we doing here? But, yeah, that is crazy, because I was counting, when I was thinking about how much I was drinking. I guess a lot of it is shots, because I'll drink liquor and beer. But I would say, at the epitome of me drinking, I'm drinking 15 drinks a day. Every single day of the week. And I did that for months at times. And that's a no-no, But I... yeah, I would say that's about average. And not all of it's out, I can afford it, but I would like spend time drinking a bunch out. But it's like, I don't think I realized how much I drank until I started like really monitoring or looking at it. I was like, holy shit, dude. When I cut it back last year, I made a contract with my buddy Justin, and I only could drink 15 a week. And that felt like nothing. Dude, like 5 drinks in a night could barely get me buzzed. I mean, sometimes I get a little buzzed depending on the strength, but it's like, oh, I can only do this 3 times a week. And I was like, oh, if I'm only getting buzzed on 5, these nights I'm like drinking and getting drunk, and I've been drinking all day, guaranteed I'm drinking 15. So where did I come from that? Oh, the water thing. Yeah, I just drinking a gallon of water. I mean, you really gotta I gotta plan it and make sure I'm drinking it every hour, so I'll just forget. What else? I know my time's up, but I feel pretty good about that ramble. Oh, dude, one of the things I wanted to talk about. I was watching this thing. I used to hate this girl, but now I like some of her stuff. But I was listening to this Candace Owens interview with this guy, and he is a survivor from the USS Liberty, which was like 50 years ago. If you don't know what happened, you can look it up. But basically, the USS Liberty was a spy ship that the U.S. had, and they were attacked by Israeli planes and then Israeli ships with torpedoes and stuff. And from what most of like the major history says is that it was they was a mistaken identity, and so they were like, oh yeah, they mistook the U.S. Ship for some other ship, and they were attacking it. And it was right at the 6-Day War, which is like when Israel started popping off with like Egypt, and there's a couple other Middle Eastern companies, but basically they started with this war. And so, but then according to him and like all the survivors, which is like 250 survivors, they're like, no, dude, like they had Israeli and we had our clear flags flying. There's like this paint on the ships, like clearly U.S., and they had all these like Israeli planes that had like a few days before been flying all around taking pictures, and they were waving to them like, oh yeah, we're Israel's our ally, and then like 3 days later they're attacking them, and they're clearly Israeli planes, and they're flying their U.S. flag, and so they're trying to sink this ship. And then they finally, they right away attacked all the transmitters, so they couldn't get out a distress signal. And it's like, how did they know where they were? They like had already done reconnaissance. And then one of the transmitters was like out of service, and so they put that up, put in a distress signal, and then like the major guy who's in charge of the military at the time. I mean, this is like, I think it's in the 60s or something. I mean, this is a long time ago. But the guy who's telling the story, he was 20 on the ship, and now he's like 78 or something. So very long time ago. But so then they talked to the military commander, and the military commander's like, they were like going to send planes to go help protect the American ship. And he's like, pull your planes back. And they didn't understand why. So they sent out another distress signal, or somebody else like went up the chain of command, and they got to Lyndon B. Johnson, who was the president at the time, and he said, he's like, I don't give a damn about the crew. We are not going to embarrass our ally on the world stage, our ally Israel. And so, first off, like, how did he know that that was Israel unless this was already a thing? So, like, he goes into why this was all planned. And also, like, you don't care that, like, our U.S. troops are out there getting attacked and you're not going to go help them. And so then they were left for like 3 days before they actually got rescued, because they were like, I guess they were hoping they finished the job and sank the ship. When they would try to send out rescue or like little survivor boats, like Israel would attack those and sink those. And then when they finally got rescued, they like were inquired about the whole situation, and everybody told them what happened, and they were sworn. They basically were threatened. They were like, if you can't say anything about this ever. If you do, you will be like discharged from the military or worse. So they're threatened like that, and so like nobody talked about it for like 10 or 15 years. But then when they like did an inquisition into what happened, they didn't ask any of the crew members. They only just talked to like some of the officials from Israel, and then they're like, okay, yeah, it looks like it was mistaken identity. And they never talked to anybody on the ship at all. They never did like normally if you're looking into something this scandalous, it's like a year-long process, and it took like a week or something. Dude, it is nuts. Like, one of the biggest cover-ups I've ever heard of. I would highly recommend it. It's on the Candace Owens channel. I think it's one of the more recent ones. But I forget the name of the commander. But he has like an organization. There's still quite a few of them, and they do talks, and they have like information about it. Obviously, this is like a huge cover-up, but I mean, I'm not like a super big conspiracy theorist, but like when you're hearing it from the mouth of a guy who was like on the ship, like, that is fucking crazy. Because I'd always heard about that. Like, well, what about that time Israel had attacked, the U.S. ship, and they still get sent money and all this stuff, and they're our biggest ally, and they're like, oh yeah, they didn't mean to, they didn't know it was our ship, but like turns out this whole thing was like planned, at least according to him, with the U.S. government. So it was all to like instigate. Because they want to blame it. They wanted to sink the ship and then blame it on the Middle East. So then they have a reason to go in and like make the war, go in with American strength, etc. Fuck, dude. Now I'm rambling even more. But yeah, that was nuts. Anyway, I'll see whoever watches this tomorrow. I am heading off to my buddy Gary's house, help him with some video stuff. But if you have any questions, shoot me a comment and hold me accountable to this. I'm holding myself, and I'm in this text thread group. We all kind of hold each other accountable on different things we want to do every day, and everybody's committed to at least the first month. I'm going to try to I'm doing this 75 days. So, yeah, I'm going to roll back here tomorrow. Peace.